Hello, everybody. It's Mac here, and we are talking about exponents to a power. And so this is version C. I have a version A, B, and a video where I explain how to do all this. So hopefully you guys have had a chance to look at those already. If not, you should do that before doing this one. And you can find that at maxtutorials.com. And I have lots of stuff, not just on the exponents, but on everything about math. And when you like and subscribe these videos, it really helps me out, okay? So let's talk about this. Well, what if I had an x to the 6 times x squared? Well, if I do that, when I multiply, I just add the exponents. Cool. But in this situation, I have an exponent to a power. When I have that, I multiply them. So in this situation, this is where I multiply, okay? So I'm going to go to number 2, and again, I'm going to multiply a to the negative 12, but I can't leave a negative exponent, so I want to flip them to the bottom, and when I do that, you have to use that 1 as a placeholder to show that the a12 is in the denominator, okay? Let's go on to number 3. Pretty simple. You're just going to multiply. That's literally all you do. You just multiply when they look like this, okay? So the big thing for you is just to know, what do they look like when you add? What do they look like when you multiply? Well, here I have a negative exponent, so I want to flip them on the bottom. Okay, that's another thing I need you to learn. Right here, we're going to multiply. That's going to be p to the 12. Now, let's stop at number 7. When you have two things in a parenthesis, you need to multiply by both of them. Okay, so the x, when I multiply, I get a negative 4. And the y, when I multiply, I get a 12. But I can't have a negative exponent, so I want to flip him to the bottom and make him positive. And that, my friends, would be my final answer. Let's go to 8. I want to exponent the first and the second. So that becomes r to the 20th, s to the negative 8. But I can't have a negative, so the r is going to go on top, and the 8 is going to go on bottom. Okay? Number 9. Boom, boom, boom. Now, ooh, whoa, I kind of moved right there. Sorry about that. So if I multiply all of them, it's a to the 6, b to the 8, c to the negative 4. But I can't have a negative, so I want to flip them to the bottom. A to the, that looks like a b. A to the 6, b to the 8 over c to the 4th. And number 10, if I square both, I'm going to get a t to the 6, u to the negative 8. And when I flip them, t to the 6 over u to the positive 8. All right, let's keep going. All right, so now I have fractions. Don't freak out. But when you have a fraction to an exponent, you have to do both the top and you have to do the bottom as well. So I'm going to get m to the negative 6 over n to the 12. Remember, we're still multiplying, but I can't have a negative exponent, so I need to move them to the bottom. So I'm going to get m6, n12. But how do I know that's a denominator? I have to do that, and that 1 is like a placeholder, okay? Number 12 out of 20. I'm going to, square him, square him, square him. Everybody gets a square. You get a square. You get a square. Everybody gets a square. Boom. Q, what's with negative 1 times 2? That's a negative 2 over r to the 4th. But I have a negative exponent. Can't have that. So I'm going to flip them to the bottom. Element of P. Q, R. The Q is going to go before the R. Yeah, you say the alphabet in your head too. Don't judge me. So I'm going to do the first, do the second, do the bottom. I'm going to get x to the negative 8, y to the 6 over z squared. So that's going to equal y to the 6 over, we're going to do the x to the 8, z squared. Number 14, I need to square the first, I need to square the second, I need to square the bottom. And here I'm going to get a to the 8th, b to the negative 4, all over c to the 6. I had to multiply all three of them. Okay, and that's going to equal, I'm going to have a to the 8 on top. I'm going to have my b to the 4th on bottom, because I had to move them down to make the exponent positive. All right, number 15. I need to square here, I need to square here, and I need to square here. And I'm going to get u to the negative 6, v to the 10th, all over w to the 4th, equals, I need to make the 6 on the bottom, so I'll write v10 on top, and I'm going to go u to the positive 6 and a w to the 4. Okay, we're just flipping around. If we see a negative exponent, we're just flipping it to the other side. Okay, I've got to cube this one. I've got to cube this one. I've got to cube this one. See how I do the lines? I think you should do the lines too. Then you don't accidentally miss something. So remember, when we do power to a power, we are just multiplying them. So that's d to the 6, e to the negative 12, all over f to the negative 3. Ooh, I got two negatives I got to flip. That's okay. The d will stay there. And now I'm going to move my e down, and I'm going to move my f up. And now they're all positive. Let's go on to number 17. I'm going to cube, and I'm going to cube, and I'm going to cube. That'll give me g to the 9, h to the 6, over k to the negative 6. But I don't want a negative exponent, so g to the 9, h to the 6, k to the 6 when I move them up. All right, 18, three more. Square, square, square. So when I multiply them, I'm going to get t to the negative 2, u to the 12 over v to the 6. I don't want a negative exponent. I got to flip them down. So that's going to become u to the 12 over t squared v6. Okay? 19. Square, square, square. That's going to give me a w to the 4th, x to the negative 6 over y to the 8th. Okay, and so when that happens, I get w to the 4. The x has to move down to make it a positive exponent, and then y to the 8th. And lastly, boink, boink, boink. I'm going to get m to the negative 2, n to the 14, over p to the negative 4. Now I have my negative exponents, so they have to flip sides, and I get p to the 4, n to the 14, over, m squared. Boom. And that, my friends, is what we call a beautiful page, okay, of knowing how to do powers to a powers and knowing how to flip negative exponents. If you can do this, you can do all of them. Good job, guys. I'll see you on the next one.